Monday on Daily Delivery, Monday afternoon, where I am, Monday morning, where you are, Patrick. A little different. I'm in London. I've been here for a couple days for Vikings Jets. We'll probably start there, but we got a lot to get to today, don't we?
How long you hanging, man? Are you gonna wander around for a couple of days or
I
what?
got some wandering in on Saturday, and I'm here for the rest of Monday. Then I go back Tuesday morning. So we did
That's
a.
not long enough, baby. I
Hey,
love that town. I
it's
love
great. I
that
I
town.
had never been. I'd like to come back for longer. This was
Okay.
about as long as I could conceive of getting away with everything else that's going on back at the
The
ranch. But
big the big problem is at my advanced age, the legs aren't what they used to be, and that is definitely a walking place.
I've
It's
put on about 20,000 steps a day, 7 or 8 miles
yes,
so far. It's
yes,
been good though.
yeah.
I like
Back in
it.
the day when I could waddle my fat ass around and do stuff, it was it was probably a lot more fun. I haven't been there about 10 years, so
Yeah. I
back when I was mobile, it was a lot better. But yeah, it's a great place. I love that place. London and Paris.
Yep.
You can't beat them,
Nope.
man. They're no matter what people try to tell you, they are great cities. So
100%. I'd never been here. I've been to Paris once. I'd like to come back here another time, spend a little bit more time. But we kind of packed it in. We went to the West Ham soccer match on Saturday, did the Vikings, of course, yesterday. Going to go see the Tower of London when I'm done here with you. So I just had lunch with a cousin that I didn't realize lived here. So we're
hey,
packing it in.
is West Ham one of the older stadiums or one of the
No,
new ones?
they play in the Olympic Stadium, the one they built in
Oh, okay, all
2012.
right.
So it's pretty nice.
Well,
Pretty
you
nice.
should have went to one of the old dumps that they still play in because that's what's amazing. When you get over
Yes.
there, they got like six Premier League teams within about
Yes.
5 miles of each other.
Yes.
Talk about rivalries. We
Oh,
think
it's
the
amazing.
Packers are a
Right.
rivalry. These are like neighborhood rivals, so it's unbelievable.
We had some time constraints because some of us were flying in Saturday, so we couldn't go to the noon matches. Just that would be too risky. So we had to pick from the 3 o'clocks.
Yeah.
And West Ham was our best
Okay.
opportunity. So we made it. We got there, and it was a
Okay.
lot of hand gestures from the fans out there. It got pretty festive, that's for sure.
Well, you got to kill time when you're watching soccer. So what the hell? I'll
Hey,
say
we
that.
saw 5 goals, Patrick. We saw 5 goals,
Wow.
4-1.
Wow.
Home
Our
side won
Looney
four to
Tunes
one.
have scored. Our Looney Tunes scored one goal in 2 games last week, and we're thrilled.
Well, they're in the
So
playoffs,
anyway,
right? Yeah,
yes, they're in the playoffs, and now they don't play for 2 weeks
of
between
course
game
not.
33 and 34. I
Of
just
course
tweeted
not.
about that. I'll be a year older between games here. It's they wait so long to play. Anyway,
Yeah.
on to the Vikings.
Yes.
So it looked like there were 30,000 Viking fans there. How many of them actually came from Minnesota and the States, do you
I
think? I mean,
a,
how
a
many?
lot.
15,000
Yeah,
people
there
or
was
something?
it was overrun with Vikings fans here. It was unbelievable. Walking from the train station to the game, it was like the way I divided it up. I think we talked about this maybe on Access Vikings too, but I think there's like the crowd. I don't know how many of these were like from Minnesota. I say the crowd was like at the game was 60% Vikings, 30% just like NFL or curious who are already living in London, and then 10% Jets. It was overwhelmingly Vikings. And I felt probably half, a third to a half were people who traveled from somewhere in the States, or it was a German Vikings fans that were there that were
Okay.
like, it was a lot of people who traveled though, for sure.
And I would guess that, that maybe because we've been there ex- eh,
4 times,
more
yeah.
than anybody except the
Right.
Jaguars, and
Right.
nobody's a Jaguar fan. I mean, they aren't even in Jacksonville. They don't have Jaguar
That's
fans.
right.
So, I mean, the Vikings have been there a lot.
Yes.
Get people wearing their T-shirts and sweaters and vests and everything else. So, yeah, it looked like an amazing turnout. We think people don't have any money anymore because the economy. What the hell? You just put it on a credit card and go, right? Who
Well,
cares?
and here's the thing.
You can pay for it.
Some people now have a lot of money, more money than they know what to do with, and some people don't have any. It's the middle
Yes.
class that we don't have anything of
Yeah.
anymore.
So if you already don't have any money, what difference does it make? If you owe a little more, get on that plane
Right.
and go and cheer,
Skull
get drunk
Vikings.
and
Yeah, I don't know.
what's it cost for a beer at
It actually
a
wasn't
game
bad.
there?
We were kind of in we're kind of in a nicer area, but it was most of the beers here have been even in the touristy areas are not any more than you're spending in Minneapolis. It's like 750, whatever it is. It's fine.
Yes, and the only downside, of course, the first half was a blowout. Aaron Rodgers looked awful, and then our guy Darnold came back to earth, to say
Yes,
the
he did.
least. He was not good the second half. And in fact, if the referees weren't so kind to Justin Jefferson, that would
Yes.
have been a nail biter. The one penalty he got away with, he pushed the guy off, and they called it 24-yard penalty on the other
Right.
guy. So I guess I said on Twitter that he's now achieved the status that even if he pushes first, they call the penalty on the other
Right.
guy. And people who played against Jerry Rice for years had the same problem, and other great receivers. So I guess his status is such he gets all the calls now, and they used them yesterday because. That was a brutal offensive performance after Aaron Jones left.
They miss Aaron Jones. They need him.
They got to hope that that hip is not an injury. Of course, all the Packer fans immediately responded, "What did you expect? We knew he was
Right.
going to get hurt." So we'll
Well,
find out.
they've got a bye week too, so
Yes.
he was kind of loosening up on the sidelines, like he had an inclination to try to talk himself back into the game. I do wonder if when he goes out, it's like 10-0, 17-0. So I wonder if they were being extra cautious, thinking, "Hey, we're up big. We've got a bye week next week. Let's not turn this into something worse." So we'll see, but we'll
Yes.
see. They
Yeah.
they need him. He does everything for him already.
Yeah, he does. He's terrific. The other guy's okay, but Chandler. But you don't want
Yeah,
to.
just drop
You
off
want
though.
you like him being number two. That's for sure. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they it was it's I guess it's a sign of I'll tell you that defense is fierce, man.
Yes, they're so good.
The pressure. When's the last time I was thinking? Well, you might have to go back to the Purple People Eaters with their ability to put pressure. I mean, they've had wonderful defensive linemen,
Right.
Millard and all those guys that
Yeah.
were Johnny Randall
John
and those
Randall,
guys.
Dolman.
But
Yeah.
man alive, the pressure they're putting on quarterbacks here is unbelievable. Of Rodgers, when you got Aaron Rodgers completely flummoxed, you know what you're doing going after people, and man, they just overran them the first half. They got a little better. That's the second straight game where the second half was a little distressing,
Yeah. Well, and the
but five.
second straight game where the punt team kind of let the opponent back in the game. This time it was I think it was a penalty on it was a Caleb. I can't remember who it was, but somebody had a penalty late in the first half that then they had a punt return that got them into field position. That was when things turned around. So they got to be better closers. They still finished off the game, but they got to be better second half team. That's for sure.
Yeah, but 5-0, and nobody
Five and
else.
zero.
There's nobody else, right? 5-0. Who's Kansas City? If they
Kansas
win,
City. I
no,
didn't see how they did this. Did they have a bye week? I didn't see them play yesterday,
I
but
think they
maybe they play
play
tonight.
tonight. Maybe
Maybe
I
they
don't
play
know.
tonight.
I don't
I
know
don't
when
know.
they play, but I think that's it. But yeah, where'd we get this kicker? By the way,
He's
my
great.
God, he's the greatest kicker we've ever had
Yeah.
since I don't know since. Jan Stenerud for a couple of years. The guy's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
he kicks him 56 yards, no problem.
In
They
the
go through by
rain and in
12
the
yards.
yeah.
Where's he from? What college is he?
Alabama.
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 He's an Alabama guy.
Draft pick from
So
Alabama, and he's been great. He's been a little different than the last time they took a rookie kicker and put him into the lineup. Daniel
yeah,
Carlson in 2018 did not go
yes,
nearly as
yes.
smoothly, but yeah,
Well,
they needed him yesterday too because the 54 yarder he made in the second half when they
uh-huh.
were sputtering and needed to restore that lead.
Well, he kicked two plus 50s,
Two
right?
plus
Yesterday.
50s,
Well, he
yeah.
hasn't missed a kick all year, right?
No, he
He
has not
hasn't
missed a
missed a
kick
kick.
all year.
Five. That's what a weapon. Oof. In the modern NFL, where everybody's trying 55-yard field goals
Hmm.
and and expecting to make 50% of them, you're making all of them.
Yes,
Meanwhile, the Packers are running a fat little guy out there, and he makes about half of his kicks. So
right.
that's a big advantage.
Everybody in NFC North is over 500 now. I saw Chicago's three and
Yes.
two, Packers 3-2, Lions are 3-1 because they had a bye week, and now the Vikings are 5-0. Best division in football, Patrick. It might be the best division in football.
Yeah, they're right. The Packers are not bad. Jordan Love made a God awful,
Oh, that
stupidest
throw. Oh
play of
man.
all
Yes,
time
he did.
to put them in trouble. And but they, you know, that so far the running back they brought in is
Jacobs. Yeah.
Jacobs is healthy and looking good.
Right.
But I still say he had for the last 5 years, the previous 5 years, he had more carries than anybody in the NFL except Derrick Henry,
Sure.
and he's gonna get banged up. He ain't gonna make it for 17 games, so
Sure.
they're gonna have to they're gonna be scrounging for another running back. But they're pretty good. But the Vikings have already beat them, and
Right.
the Bears is I don't know. Caleb Williams looked better, but the Carolina's so lousy that
Right.
who knows what's going on. But yeah, the Lions, I think the Lions might have played their worst ball so far, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah, and they're still 3-1. Yeah.
they haven't been very impressive. So, but yeah, it's a tough division, and these guys, they get a week off. They're all they're letting them stay a day in
Yes.
London, right? Or
Yes,
are
they
they
are.
coming home Tuesday morning or
I
tonight or what?
think that's right. I think it's Tuesday morning. I can't remember what their plan was, but
Let
yeah,
the
they're all
boys go out
they're
and raise some
yes.
hell.
Yes, I say so.
Tear it
Go
up.
for it.
Tear it
Let
up.
them be
Yeah.
5-0, bye week coming up, just
Pick
like,
up
hey,
the pick up the tab, you cheap wilts, too. Let them. I bet the NFL has rules
I'm sure
though
they
that
do.
if
Salary
you
cap rules.
if you if you give them all like $5,000 to go out and blow, and that's probably counts again your
I'm sure it
salary
does.
cap. That
Right.
cheap SOBs.
Right.
So they it probably does. You probably can't just pick it up and make it a gift. I don't know. So.
Well, I'm sure London has made plenty of money off of Minnesotans already. I don't know if there's any beer left here. They drank. They might have drank it all. People were
Who?
people were
Yeah.
drunk and having fun.
Okay. Whoever would have guessed that Van Ginkel
Oh, he's
makes
tremendous.
Daniel Hunter look like a
Oh,
stiff? It's
Van
unbelievable.
Ginkel's
The guy's
great. Just
great.
as
He's great. And this other guy 2 weeks ago, Grenard, he
Bernard,
got
yeah.
3 sacks. And
Yep.
man, and Flores has got them coming from all angles,
Yep.
and usually they're not coming. They think they're all coming. They don't know who to block.
No.
That first half was again just a track meet to
Yep.
Rogers, and Rogers was completely screwed up.
He didn't.
And
Yeah.
then he throws that duck at the end of the game, and
Yes.
Gilmore just turns around and catches it. So it was not an impressive performance. Aaron looked every bit of his age, didn't he?
He did. He made a few throws. He made a few plays. He's got enough like savvy to make you worry a little bit if you were a Vikings fan. But he threw like he missed some guys like that last drive. They had I can't remember who it was. If it was Garrett Wilson or somebody had a double move where he was open. He just overthrew him. Like that would have been
Mhm.
a touchdown with about a minute left if he doesn't overthrow him on the sidelines. And then he missed guys in the first half. Throws those bad interceptions. He finally looks old. Like I didn't take that into consideration when I thought about this game. I was like, but basically he's playing kind of like Favre in his second year in Minnesota, where you can kind of see the end is near, right?
And what 3 interceptions is only the fifth time in his career. It's
Yeah,
his career high
for
or something
first
like
against the
that.
first time against the Vikings, he's thrown three
Vikings, yeah,
picks. Yeah, so
yeah. His last ever pass against them will have been a duck to Stephen Gilmore. So.
that's right. Yeah, so people went home happy yesterday. It was a lot of walking. They had some planned maintenance on the overground train that goes
Oh,
straight to the
really?
Tottenham Stadium. So you had either the
Plan?
jammed up.
That sounds like the Minnesota Department of Transportation when they closed down the freeway when the Yankees are in town. Let's close the Lowry Tunnel at 10
Right,
o'clock on Friday night for the
right,
weekend when we got the Yankees in town instead of in April when we got
right,
the A's in
right,
town. What a bunch of morons. It sounds like, it sounds like I think we've probably planners all over the world are just like screwing with people in
right,
traffic, right?
right.
Just so they keep getting the unlimited budgets to fix
Yes,
the roads, even the ones that don't need fixing. How they got they're way ahead of us in the roundabouts over there,
oh
though,
yeah,
right?
yes
Yeah,
they
I
are.
mean they're decade, century ahead of us in the roundabouts.
Right, they are.
I cannot drive. when my wife and I were over there and we had to go to Scotland, we
Uh-huh.
flew in and then I guess we flew into Edinburgh and then we drove up to Scotland and then came back and flew back to London for a few days. But he had to take the wheel when we got out of the airport because driving the roundabouts when you have to stay on the left is not.
I
That
I
was too much
suppose.
for old Patrick, man. And that was back when I was only like 60 and I had my brains. I still had my brains and I couldn't drive it. So it was the roundabouts there will drive you crazy. So
Well, I've been to Europe 4 times now, and I've never driven a car here. I've always been trains and buses and everything else. I'm trying to stay away from driving. I'm going to make it through one more trip here without doing it. But yeah,
yeah, well,
it's a,
I never had one when I was in London. That's for
yeah,
sure.
it's a it's an easy city to get around in by train and by foot. I would not want to drive
Yes.
here because people have been it's a lot of traffic and it's a lot of agitated drivers trying, especially getting out of that game yesterday. There were people that were not happy because it's like a 30-minute walk back to the
Oh,
underground
really?
station. So we had
Okay.
to, and
And
there's
then you got to wait in line for a long time, probably, huh?
actually,
So,
well, once you got there, it wasn't too bad, but the walk back, they were like holding you up at spots, and it took a while. The game ended at like, I don't know, 6 o'clock London time, and we didn't get back to the hotel till almost 8. So it was a bit of a process, I would say, but it was
did you
it was
uh,
fun.
did you did you pick up the London newspapers at all while you were
I haven't.
there?
Maybe I should do that today
I,
or tomorrow morning. I should.
yeah, you should. I just wondered how they covered the game. Of
Oh, good
course,
question.
yeah, that's that. I'm sure it's still soccer mania. I don't know
It is.
where we are in the soccer season over
We're only
there, but
like 6 or 7 matches in, so it's pretty
okay,
early yet. It's pretty early yet, but yeah, it
okay.
was. Yeah. So what have I missed? I feel like I saw the Gophers won against
Gophers,
USC. The
USC,
game started at
USC's
12:30 a.m. Sunday here, so I did not see
okay.
that one.
They scored twice and they only had two drives late. The Brosmer looked real good and down the stretch after not doing much. And Southern Cal is certainly not getting their money's worth from Lincoln Riley. They're a little upset out there, and the defense made this quarterback, I don't know who he is, Miller Moss or somebody like that,
Hmm.
who probably is. He got to be an NIL guy. I don't know
They
from
all are. Yeah.
Southern Cal, but it's a big win. And PJ declared us the best 2 and 3 team in the country. Apparently, not even he's counting Rhode Island. But yeah, they look good. And I didn't stay to watch, but I guess we rush the
Rush the
field
field.
too
Yeah.
again once in a while for beat Southern Cal. So I didn't realize Southern Cal was rated 12.
Yeah.
They were overrated, but they
Well,
they they beat Michigan, right?
no, Michigan
Which
beat them last minute, and then I think that was their last loss.
oh,
There was only loss. So
and Michigan's no good. So
yeah, Michigan's not
anyway,
good. No, I don't know. They were
no.
yeah
Well,
they
Michigan lost to Washington, I believe, didn't
yes
they?
they
They
did,
lost to Washington. So
and Southern
yeah,
Cal went
they're
from 11th to not ranked in the latest poll.
yeah. Well, they're not. This is not a great Southern Cal. Now you get to go out. They could very they would got to be favored over UCLA. I would
I
think
would think so.
UCLA is
Yeah.
bad,
Right.
and UCLA. PJ was going to be the coach there, even though the coach they hired is making 3 million and he's making 6.75. So that was a bunch of baloney. But we're going to have to read about it again this week that he was turned down the UCLA job. Yeah, so he turned down 4 million and stayed here to make 6.75. Okay, that's
Right.
if you want to believe that's fine. But yeah, that's a good win for him, and it basically gives them a chance when you look at the rest of the season. They got a lot of veteran players. They got this Perry kid. Oof,
Yes.
if he's got himself a good agent, he'll have to be making some NIL money
Yes.
to be retained. This guy's going to he might be an All-American by the time he's a sophomore. He's something. He returns punts and he
Yeah.
made the interception that
He was
ended the game.
he was up there. I saw the picture. He was up in the air for that one.
Yeah, I saw him. I watched him play basketball, and
Hmm.
it was a decent basketball player, kind of a kind of a knock people around type of guy, but
Okay.
he's yeah, it was a good win for him. Although I just I'm kind of having a little fun with Gopher fans saying I
Oh.
didn't think Brosmer was in at the end of the game. So when they reviewed it, but it was again the Big Ten is you get those two schools in with the big reputation, Southern Cal and UCLA, and you expect
Hmm.
them to be really good, but they aren't really right now.
Yeah.
So Oregon, out of the four teams, Washington lost 2/3 of their team.
Right.
So out of the four West Coast teams, Oregon's the only one that's really good. So
Yeah. So maybe it's not as daunting of a challenge this year. It
mhm.
might be in future years, but in maybe in other sports too. But yeah, I mean they kind of had to have that one if they're
Oh
going to
yeah,
have any kind of season, right? I mean they were
oh yeah.
teetering at that point.
If you lose that one, yeah, you're in serious trouble. But now now everybody loves PJ again, so that's good.
Our links, I saw there was some controversy with Cheryl that she like went after the
You
Connecticut
know,
players after game one.
now someone I was in the press room back then when they were coming up the tunnel. They were coming up the ramp, and they were all chanting, we're here," and with a few
I remember you told me
expletives
that.
in
Yeah, I
there
remember
too.
that.
Yeah. And someone came in and said Cheryl was yelling at. Someone told me
Hmm.
that Cheryl was yelling at the players, but
Yeah.
I didn't see it, so
Right. Right. Right.
I couldn't really report it. It was just hearsay. But
Sure.
apparently, she was yelling at the opponent. So I for I don't know why. I guess
Right.
was it something that happened late in the game, physical
Oh,
contact
I
or
think it was
something,
that
or
she
was
didn't
she
like.
just mad?
I think she didn't
She
like the
was
way they were
just mad.
celebrating. Yeah.
She was just mad they were having too much fun. So
Yeah.
anyway, well, Cheryl's a if if nothing else, she's a wonderful bad sports person. She's a very poor loser and looks for victims. And I'll never forget when the Sparks and the Lynx had the greatest series in the
Yeah.
history of the WNBA, and all she could do was complain for 15 minutes after about the officials. So she's not a good sports
Not
person,
always
I would say.
gracious in defeat.
No,
Would you say?
not gracious, not gracious. No, she's a. You know what I used to say about Jack Morris?
Hmm.
You're the greatest winner I've ever seen. You accept victory, the best I've ever seen, but you're the biggest jackass when you lose I've ever run into. And I think that's
Yeah.
Cheryl. That's
Yeah.
pretty much her. That's
That
pretty
could be.
much her in women's basketball. And of course, Jack said that's the reason I don't lose too often,
Yeah.
bleeper.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
Cheryl Cheryl might say the same, but now they got one.
yes,
Now they got to win one because they lost
yeah,
Sunday night. It's
yeah.
game 5 back at Target Center here.
And the Sun are not usually that good a shooting team.
Right.
So the fact that they made all those threes is not really them. And I would think, you know, if you can open up the game a little and get both teams moving like they did last night, you're going to beat them. But
Right.
if you turn it into a grinder like the first two were at Target Center, then it's a 50-50 game
Right.
because the Sun will play ugly if you allow them to play ugly. So it'll. But yeah, it's certainly a big advantage for the Liberty too, isn't it? That these
Yes.
guys,
Yes.
they can sit and wait around for to be the home team on Thursday, and these two teams now have to battle through a game 5. But I guess when you go to on the road in a best of 5 and you're 1-1, you're just got to be happy to get home again,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
and it kind of felt all along like it was maybe even a cliche a bit, but it kind of felt all along this was going to be a 5 game series just because they're two pretty similar teams. Especially when Connecticut won game 1, you just kind of had the feeling, okay, this is probably going to go the distance. I still think it favors the Lynx, but yeah, it's on. They have to perform now. They have to do the things
And
they do well and not get into the wrong kind of game, like you said.
A lot of it will depend on the officiating.
Yeah.
If they let them beat each other up, then it's a close game because the Sun do play a little physical. So
Yes. Yeah.
and that would and Bridget Carlton, well,
Hmm.
2 for 13 or something
Yeah. Something like that.
yesterday, and that's not her.
No.
She's a really good player.
Yep.
She's been a gift to them,
Yes.
and
Yes.
but I was looking it up just now, in fact, before we came on, and when they won their other 4 championships, one year they had the second best record, but
Hmm.
then they were kind of but pretty much for a 7 year period, they were the dominant team in the
Yes.
league there, and they won
Right.
4 titles. And this certainly would be if the best coaching job, the best turnaround, the best everything if they were to win the title
Oh yeah,
after.
for sure.
5 years, 2 playoff wins. So
Yeah, I
it
agree.
was, it would be when you consider that the expectations to have this team go 30-10 is incredible,
No,
really.
absolutely.
Watch your dreams and savings grow with Royal Credit Union's 4.25% annual percentage yield 12-month certificate. Open now at any Royal office or online at rcu.org/certificate saver. Early withdrawal penalties could reduce earnings and principal. APY accurate as of 2/1/25. Insured by NCUA.
Quick before we go, are people since I've left on Friday, are people less mad about the Twins? Are we kind of calmed down now? Are we done with them? Or
I'm not sure. You still hear some guy sent out a thing. See what happens with the Twins. This should be a lesson to them. Stephen Gilmore, if you get a good
oh
veteran
boy,
player, what a difference it can make. So
didn't
okay,
you
idiot.
didn't you argue
But
the opposite the other day that they should not be doing
I
that?
don't think we should go. I think they should go young. Goodbye Santana. Goodbye Vasquez. Goodbye Kyle Farmer. Goodbye one or two of their you know outfielders, and
Yeah.
I think that they should. Yeah, I just don't see the future with the running it back, by bringing in a couple more old timers, and
Right.
you could actually have a pretty good rotation if you wanted to turn Griffin Jackson into a starter, and then. A lot of teams just piece together a bullpen. What would you
Right.
do with Durant? What would you do with Durant?
That's an interesting one because he wasn't the same guy last year.
No, he
Was
wasn't.
he did he have the oblique earlier in the year and at the beginning of
Yes,
the year and that
did
was
he? He did not pitch to start the season,
right.
right? Didn't he
And he
miss wasn't he DL'd at the start of
yeah,
the
and
year?
his and never, his velocity was still good, but it wasn't quite as good, and his other stuff wasn't quite as sharp. But if you're thinking about making Griffin Jacks a starter, you you
You got
kind
to
of
keep
you
it. You,
kind of
you
need
got to keep him. But the other thing is, a lot of P teams just. I mean, Cleveland is the opposite.
right.
They kept Clase, and they just pitch him every game.
He's just
They
that
don't.
good. He's just that
They
good.
just don't worry about him. But and it's great to have a guy like that. But a lot of teams get away with redoing their
Right.
bullpen every year, and
Right.
sometimes it works out, sometimes. And although Falvey did have the guts to mention Justin Topa again on
Mm.
Friday, but it was quite a press conference Friday in the
Yeah, how'd that
world's
go?
brightest lighted clubhouse,
Right.
and they had to announce that Levine was leaving, and they never really mentioned the bottom line that his contract expired and they didn't renew it, which is what this is all about. But and he hadn't been the right hand man for quite a
No.
while. But I mean, one of the big reasons that Levine came in here 8 years ago was basically Falvey was too nervous to talk in public, right? Levine was the quipster and
Yes,
the
he was the
smart guy,
face. Yeah, he was the face.
he did all the talking. Well, that hasn't been the case for 5 years. But
No.
Derek was fast talking, jargon, cliches stuff. I mean, he was nervous he was like he was when he was a kid when he came here. He was just talking double speak nonsense
Right.
about and him and Derek consulting about his future and where what his goals are for the future and what he would like to be and all this crap. And it was embarrassing if you ask me, but he got away with it. Nobody called
Yeah.
him out on it. I didn't call him out on it, but it was just a bunch of nonsense. But people see what happens is then this was the Pohlads scapegoating their own inaction by firing Levine,
Right.
and then national story: Levine takes fall for
No.
it
No.
didn't.
No.
He
No.
was it was it was
The
set. He
the
was
hitting
gone.
the hitting coaches took the fall a little bit,
Yeah,
but not
yes,
Levine.
the hitting coaches took the fall, and as I said, a week before the season ended, Rocco was telling me how good his hitting coaches are. And so he didn't make the call on the
No.
hitting coaches either. I
Right.
mean, those days of a manager having
Right.
his own coaches are long over anyway.
Yeah.
In baseball, they don't. The front office picks all the
Yeah.
guys, and then not only do they, not get the coaches they wanted, but the gurus are wandering around the clubhouse at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with their iPads, talking to everybody at at their lockers and stuff like that, telling them this and that, and this is the way you should pitch. And it's a completely different world. And the funny thing is, though, Mike, is we're very budget conscious now with
Right.
the payroll for players, but meanwhile there's hundreds of them over there, and
Yes.
the baseball department is enormous now,
Yes.
including the biochemist
Oh
or
boy.
whoever it is told them that they should have brighter
Right.
lights so people can. The scientists who told they got scientists now,
Right.
and they, the solution is to keep adding geniuses. I guess everybody wants to be like Tampa Bay. Don't spend money on the players, spend it on the front office. So anyway,
I'd settle for a couple of relief pitchers. I don't know about you.
people are not happy, but then they're happy about the Vikings. They're
Right.
happy for at least these moments about the Gophers.
Right.
We got the Wild starting
Yeah.
this week,
This
right?
week, yeah. I think Thursday.
And boy, they're sneaking up on us, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are.
The things are so busy around
I
here,
know
and
it.
with the Vikings playing this well, not much attention, but it's 2 home games. I think they
Yeah.
start off with 2 home games,
Yep.
and have really not much. I don't know if we. The thing about hockey is you don't know. It's just
Well, how are the goalies
the
going to play? Are they going to play like they did 2 years ago, or they play like last year?
But the Flower went out and joined the ice crew,
Oh,
and he's
God.
just such a character. And oh God, it's so funny to have
How can we miss him
Flower.
how can we miss him if he never leaves?
Yeah, the Flower. Why is he still here?
I
For
don't know.
God's sake, I know.
Good goalie, good guy, but he probably should have hung it up after last year. We did all
Yeah,
the stories already.
yeah.
We did all the Flowers last time at so and so, Flowers
But
last
is it?
milestone.
But who we got for goal?
Well, you got all three of them now. You got
All
Flower, you
three
got
of them. So
Gustafson,
Wallstead is
and
not ready to
Wallstead.
play yet. Then they
I
didn't get rid of the guy who
no,
played last
they
season.
still
Then
have
or what?
Gustafson too. They still got all
Yeah,
three of them.
I thought they
Gus
were going to get
Bus.
rid of him.
I think maybe they tried. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. I think the plan is hope that Wallstead's ready. But if you got three goalies, like I
Yeah,
don't know
that
what you
ain't going to
do.
work. That's not
No,
going to work. They should have.
they should have
They
traded
shouldn't
Gus
have
Bus.
brought back the Flower. They're not. It's not like they're on the cusp
No.
of winning the Stanley Cup. But in fact, we had a story. Sarah had a story on Leopold talking. Wait till next year, boy,
Oh,
when we get rid of those dastardly
yeah,
contracts that I gave to
yeah,
Parisi and Suter,
right.
which
Well,
saved the franchise. But
yeah.
now we're upset about those.
Well,
But
just
next year at this time, the free agents are going to be walking through the door like
yeah, and then they're
crazy.
gonna have to extend Kaprizov and do all this other stuff. That money's gonna go fast. I know what the money's gonna go fast, and it's not.
It is amazing though the job of Now Guerin did screw up with giving some mediocre veterans no trades.
Yes.
But the money as cheap as he got Eck, as cheap as he just got Faber,
yes,
as cheap as he got Kaprizov, he's been amazing.
Yes, he's done well with that.
I mean, Kaprizov should be making 14, not 9, for goodness sakes.
Yeah,
and Eck's making what, like 4.5 or 5?
I think it's more than that, but he's not making enough for how good he got. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's their best all-around player. He's considering he became a goal scorer, and whoever drafted him, when you look, I think he had like 6 goals
Yes.
out of the
Well,
juniors or something. So
and
somebody was right when they drafted him.
oh, and they got killed for it too because there was a Minnesotan that everybody wanted him to draft, right? Was it?
I know.
I can't remember who it
I
was,
can't remember.
but they were mad because they were like, "Who's this Eck guy? He's not any good." And then he turns out they were right. He was pretty good. I think that was maybe a Fletcher draft pick. I think he was
Yeah, it was
long
he
enough ago.
back
That was probably
away,
Fletcher.
certainly kid. But anyway, yeah, they we know one thing, no matter how much pub they get, there'll be 18-5 there when they open the
18-5, baby.
season.
Yep.
And you go on a Saturday afternoon later in the year
Yep.
when they're having those Saturday afternoon games, those kids from Woodbury are there. There's 8-year-old kids are there from Jersey with their $300 jerseys on
Yep.
at 8 years old, and
Yep.
they're having the time of their lives. They don't.
Tell,
It's amazing.
tell you what though, Patrick, we might have caught a break in our household. I brought our 4-year-old to a Let's Try Hockey Day out in Egan.
Oh,
He'd never
good.
played before. Brought him out there. Looked like he was having a good time. He skated around. He would try to skate around. He fell down a lot. They were giving him some good instruction. Gets done with it. A couple days later, he tells me, "I don't want to play hockey." So I think
Oh
we gave
God! Don't try to talk him
we
out of
gave
it.
we gave him a chance. That was your chance,
Yeah,
Edison. You're not if
yeah.
you don't want to play hockey, you don't have to play hockey.
That's not only did it save you a lot of time, it saves you a lot of money.
Yes.
And
Yes.
being a hockey parent is very
Yes.
expensive,
Yep.
especially if they have aspirations to,
Yes.
play in high school or something.
Yes.
So
No. He's only
yes,
4. He's only 4. He might change his mind, but he
yeah,
as of
don't
now.
push it.
No, I'm not
Don't
going to push him. I'm
stick
not going
with
to push
them.
him. I'm not going to push him.
Just
I'll
stick
say,
with them.
"Yeah. You said
Just
that once. I'll take you at your word."
Yes, yes, that's right. Basketball, you buy them sneakers and they
There
go
you
out
go.
and throw a ball up in the air.
Yes.
It costs
Right.
$10.
Right.
Doesn't cost 500 every time. You
Yep.
know what they're paying for sticks now? They're paying 200
Lots
bucks
there.
for
Yes.
sticks.
They weigh like
250 bucks for
they
sticks.
they weigh the same as a piece of paper too. I lifted one
Yeah,
up. I
I
was like,
know
these
they
things are
snap. And then even if they don't snap, they say, well, it's lost its pizzazz, it's lost its
right.
power or something, and
Right.
they got to get a new one.
Yeah, it's got to flex. You got to flex it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Before we get out of here, you wanted to mention Vanderbilt's big win over
Oh man,
Alabama.
yeah, unbelievable. The fat little quarterback that Jerry Kill brought with him, Pavia, what's his Diego Pavia, Pavia. He came out of high school. Nobody wanted him. He went down there in New Mexico. He went to Mexico Military Institute, a
Ooh,
junior college.
okay.
And then I think he stopped someplace else. And then the killer brought him to New Mexico State along with Tim Beck, who was his offensive coordinator. And, he Jerry won some games with him in 2 years. And then Tim Beck goes to Vanderbilt as the offensive coordinator. Clark Lee hires him,
Mm-hmm.
and Pavia goes there. And then Killer shows up as the offensive consultant, and he's on the sidelines talking. And I talked to him about Mike McElroy, the Bethel. I was
Yeah.
writing a column on the Bethel coach, who was a grad assistant for Jerry. We talked for 15 minutes about Pavia and being at Vanderbilt and how their things were going to get a little better. Sure wish I could find those notes. I don't know what happened to them, and I was scratching them out, and they're here someplace. But you're watching a game, and Alabama couldn't stop them. And
No.
this little option quarterback, he all of a sudden he takes off and he
Oh,
doing there. I muted this thing.
you pressed
Oops.
something. You must have pressed a button by accident. I can hear you again now. I can't see you, but I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. Well, anyway, great win, and I texted him and got a response, and he was getting flooded with congratulations, Coach
Yeah.
Gill. So quite a win. First time in 40 some
That's
years.
amazing.
Yeah, and my friend Mark Wicker, who's now can be found on Substack,
Right.
and wrote a great column about Vanderbilt and how basically
Right.
the only thing they ever have is homecoming because everybody comes back and they just go to a half of the football game and then leave, and they're like the fodder of the Southeastern Conference. But what a win! So
Yeah. What a win.
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, What a win! What a weekend! Baseball playoffs have been great. Everything's fun here. It's I'm sure we'll have plenty next week too. You're loving some playoff baseball, right?
Well, I was the Phillies Mets was a great game last night, and then to see the Padres beat the
Yes.
Dodgers, I was all in favor of that. But people wonder why we got speed up rules.
Yeah.
Last night, Philly and the Mets, 3:33. Now they add 9 inning game, but they add like a minute to their between inning stuff too. But back in the day, before the speed up rules, that would have been a 4.5 hour game.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
Anyway, they are figuring out a way to stretch the games out again now. It's they added 15 minutes back from when they first started the thing a couple of years ago, but at least it's tolerable last night. It wasn't so long that you'd wanted to turn it off last night. So like back in the day when we were playing 4.5 hour World Series games. So anyway, but the thing about the postseason is they don't put the guy on second base either.
No,
so.
that's right. That's right. At least.
That game was a great game yesterday, Phillies and the Mets. So.
Wow. Tremendous.
Right.
Appreciate it. We proved that we can do it across continent. Maybe we'll do it. We'll do it both in Minnesota next time.
All right.
All right, sir.
Buddy.
Take care. Bye bye.